Yeah.
And why would they have a skiff?
That's my point.
Explain a
it's
skiff to
something
people that don't know what we're talking about.
A skiff is a place for information above secret, and it's a special compartmented intelligence facility where we can go in there and talk about things that are above.
And
the
there's no
secret level.
recording devices.
Right.
You don't
No
have a
phones, no
phone,
nothing.
no
just
nothing.
right. But the thing is this. I mean, most of us that are in the intelligence community or whatever, we're going to look at it and say something's not quite right here, because this is something domestic happening over the U.S. So would it really require a skiff? You know,
Especially if it's authorized.
right?
Correct.
You know, so would it really require that level of security to go on and
Doesn't
have
make
these
sense to
guys
me.
talk? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the federal presence, to me, dictates the fact that if this was innocuous and unclassified, like you're saying, why was there not a press conference that described it and said the hobbyists are out there flying too, and they're just kind of interfering with our lanes where we go and fly normally between one place to another? That never came out. So why was the skiff even mentioned? That's something that they did release in the press, is that they were receiving briefings that were in a classified environment.
And then
Why?
there's still
Why?
there's still the problem with these drones popping up all over the world, especially over military facilities, and that part's not been addressed. It's just the other stuff that they,
Right.
hey,
That was Wright-Patterson Air Force Base had to get closed down, right?
Wright Patterson, Langley Air Force Base. There's others, and then there's reports of stuff in Australia. There's reports of things in other places in the world.
Let me ask you this and tell me if this makes sense. If you were the government and you knew that there were non-human intelligence that were operating vehicles above our cities, would a way to sort of obfuscate that, to launch a bunch of our drones as well and have some shit that you could explain and then tell people, don't worry about it, it was just drones,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
our drones. Like, see, here's our drone. Here's a drone that crashed. Look, it's got propellers, normal drone. Yeah, it's big, but it's normal.
You have no idea how
Yeah,
many
you're obfuscating.
people have said that already.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. You're
you've
going
heard
in the
that.
right direction.
Yeah, you've heard that one. You've heard the other theory. They're looking for a dirty nuke.
Yeah.
Right.
They're looking for
That one scared the
HVTs.
shit out of me.
Yeah, I did too. Honestly, I thought that's what it was about. But and then they have looking for HVTs, like anti-terror, or looking for terrorist groups, because we were. I think at that time it went through the press that there was over 1,000 of these, jihadists that were in our midst, and we don't know where they're at.
Right.
Kind of thing. Maybe they're looking for those. Those are just some of the theories that you come up with this kind of a scenario.
And then there was the guy, the congressman that said, "Oh, there's an Iranian mothership out there," and we were like, "What?"
In the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of this stuff was making any sense. And then you have to wonder, where was he getting his intel? Because if it's that crappy,
Right.
those people need to be fired.
Well, you got to take another thing into the calculus, and that is, wasn't this worldwide? I mean,
Right.
didn't we got reports from China even
Right.
that this stuff was happening,
Right.
and they don't just have hobbyists flying stuff around in their country.
Maybe they don't.
Right?
Maybe they have a much tighter control over their media, so they don't have to obfuscate. They don't have to
Yeah.
trick
But
us.
see, that's the one
But-
part that I find very confusing. Is just like if it's happening in Europe and China and all these other places, what really is going on?
Well,
You
if
could have just did a NOTAM and just said, "Hey, we're
Yeah.
going to be doing a test in this area. Don't want to scare anybody, whatever, but we're just going to test in this area." Done.
if it's just ours.
Yeah.
Right.
And then-
But if it's not ours and there's a bunch of shit flying around there and we want to confuse people, wouldn't you have a bunch of conventional drones and fly them low
Yeah.
over cities so people could clearly
Could have
see
been
them?
done a totally different way and not had all this hubbub going on. So yeah, you're
Why,
right.
but why would you, if you know the truth, why would you leave the Americans afraid of what's flying over their head?
I think there's still look, assuming you guys are completely accurate about all this, if they have had this information for a long time, I would assume that there's a lot of pressure to never release it. I think there's probably a lot of problems with lying to Congress about budgets and allocation of resources for these programs that are all top secret. Like, how have you done this? What have you done? Who's responsible? Who made that call? Is that even legal? And who are you that if you've been in contact with non-human intelligence and you have retrieved crafts, who are you to keep that from the rest of the world?
Exactly.
And speak for the American government for that if you're not
Yeah.
officially
Right.
part of it.
Yeah,
Right,
when
especially if you're you're not officially. I mean, you don't have the clearance to do what you're doing.
Right.
Is-
I mean, they're making decisions for the entire human race,
Right.
not just America, but the whole race. And that's what my beef was.